Do I still look tired from a few nights ago? So I kind of feel it. I'm not really wasn't really hungover or anything, but the friend I'm living with and I had to talk about that, and it's best to lay low again. I'm moving in a couple weeks, so I need to be able to kind of get my shit together. Um, Thankfully, it's not the end of the world. It's just I don't know. I kind of didn't really get a chance to talk like how I should talk about it, just because like it's not a terrible thing that's happening. It's just something that's needed to happen for a very long time, and then I've been very unlucky. Um, the job I have is pretty top notch. Not like amazing, but for what it's worth, it's pretty chill. I mean, when I used to work there, you weren't allowed to call out at all, and I've been dealing with emergency family issues, and I had to call out 2 days already because of it. And they were just like, "Okay, that's fine. We got plenty of people. Don't trip." Um, but part of that was spent out in where I was in that hotel room. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Like, the day after I woke up, I did not have fun because I woke up late, got a phone call, and I was like, "Oh shit," you know. It was a hotel lobby. They're like, "You do know it's almost 12, right?" I'm like, "Oh shit!" So I had to get out like quick. Um, but the bottom line is that like once I get going like that, I don't necessarily stop. Like part of me wants to, but like the way that my brain works is that I get distracted very easily, and and then I just don't think about it, and then I stop thinking, and then what I usually do is listen to music when I drink, so I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. So when for anyone who said like, yeah, if anything, you should stop for a while and then go to the smaller brews, I drink Budweiser or something, and I think they're right. But for now, it's got to be like a complete stop because um, I need all the hours I can get, and I'm not going to be as generous enough with my time, whether or not it's helping out family or otherwise. You know what I mean? So for me personally, I could set that time for family aside for when it's actually my days off. I can't keep going like that. You know, like saying, "Oh, I got to call out." What happened was is that after I uh, after I got like a little better, I went to go out to see my little brother. And for those who don't follow me, my little brother is currently homeless, but it's being solved right now. So, which is good. You know. So uh, he's gonna be moving pretty soon here, back to well, not back to, but if you guys remember the chef area where I used to work a couple of years back, he's moving to there with my mom, and yeah, I mean like it's great for him because he needs it. He doesn't work yet. He hasn't had a job in a while, so uh, that's where he's gonna go. You know, I mean, doesn't really have much of a else of a choice. Like sleeping out here in California, like in a tent or something like that, sucks. Unless if you have like a really established like build up, it sucks. Like there's no helping it. Um, And the thing is, with like a lot of people, at one point in time, myself included, I thought, you know what, maybe it's not so bad if you do it for like a little bit, but that's only if you like you have your head about you. So it's not like you can just go out and just pitch a tent and then just do whatever you want, because the homeless people are they're thieves. So say that if you got hired drunk while you're chilling in a tent, then you're an easy target. That's just the way it is. So it's not fun. It's straight up survival mode, unless if you are living off grid somehow, to where you have the door you can lock. It's not fun. So at least that's from what I understand and what I've seen, and like I got after talking. And when I saw him and his girlfriend, he he was sick, and I was like, I don't know what kind of medicine you need. I'll go ahead and get some, or if you just need to talk, because I can't tell like how you're sick. I can tell that you're tired, but that's pretty much about it. And he just needs the company, you know what I mean? And uh, that's just really it makes his day, which is interesting. Kind of like when I come up on here and just do whatever, but it's a more dire situation, because like you feel like you need. From what he's told me, he's like you feel like you need to talk to somebody like all the time, and I get that because again I do this. The only thing that happened to that was just unfortunate when I went out there, from my personal experience, is that the area that where they walk and set up, it is like a homeless encampment. So it's like people are in like a society there. So it's not like it's not all bad, but it's pretty bad. But anyway, there's a lot of mud, and the only thing I really complain about was that I had to wash my shoes when I got back. So um, so I made a deal with my friend. After that, I said, look, um, it's either A, I move back to my hometown, or B, I find a place. But either way, I'm only going to be here for a couple more weeks if you allow it. And he's like, that's fine. You can do that. So it made me nervous. He thinks I'm annoying when I drink, which I don't blame him. And because I think so too at times. Like half the time, it's just obnoxious shit that I do. So, and like to give it a little bit more personal about it too. My grandfather in particular, not really my dad. Um, he does other dumb shit, but he keeps himself busy. So like whenever he has a beer, from what he told me when I was talking with him, so I was talking about it with him, and I was like, man, I feel like shit. Like I need to slow down because this is harsh. And he's like, I'm gonna be honest with you, the only way that he holds his drinking habit is that he only go out and he rides his motorcycle. So with that being said, his motorcycle is a lot more important than getting drunk, pretty much. As opposed to me, I'll grab an Uber, spend more money, and then think I have nothing to worry about. So it's starting to become an issue, to the point where it's like I don't have my own privacy. I don't have my own room. Why am I drinking? You know, get a hotel room, and then even with a cheap one, I spent about maybe $240 for 3 nights, and then for 3 nights compared to like a full month, the place that I'm getting, or that I'm going to at least look at on Monday, is after, I think it was like after Yeah, after taxes, it was around $1,000, which is still a lot compared to like everywhere else that's not California, because California sucks. But the people who own these rooms or vacant rooms in their house, they don't really have a choice because you know property tax is a bitch. So like I don't want to deal with it personally. I'd rather just get a room and then kind of be how I was. But the like I said, the APA bullshit, it's got to stop with me because the alcohol volume doesn't really affect me until the next day. That's just how my taste buds are. And as most people know, I can get a lot down. But obviously, the alcohol volume affects everybody the same way. It doesn't really matter if you're a bigger guy or it goes into your blood system. So there's no, oh, I can handle my liquor. I can handle my liquor. With most people, to be honest, unless they're just doing like 5%, like Budweisers or something that's fun, like a Michelada or something like that. But something that's like unique instead of just like a bomber. But it's been a hot minute since it started that, and I understand the fact that I'm in my mid-30s. Like I had my fun with doing that shit, and the more I do it, the harder it affects me, physically, and it's not fun for me anymore. So, and I say that only like 2 days afterwards, but because I know like from a month from now, I might say like, oh well, what's the harm? Do it again. But I need to watch like videos and stuff like that to try to kind of like remind myself to not get into that shit. It's too nutty, you know. Um, there's this guy called the Metal Madman. He's on YouTube. He still is, but he was he's pretty popular back in the day up until he had some allegations, which I won't get into. But um, he still does his shit. It's a form of release from what I understand. But he does those heavier things, But me, it's just every time I do it, always something always goes wrong. So whether it's like a little or a lot, because going back to like me almost waking up late to get out of the room, that's just shit like that happens. But when it comes to binge drinking for a few days, that in general, that's just shitty because it's a poison. It's not something that I do for one day and then stop for like a week. It's I wake up, I still feel a little groggy. So what I do is say, well, whatever. I've got nothing to do today, and I'll keep going again. So it's like uh, shitty. It's very shitty. I don't necessarily feel like physical pain yet. I feel a little bit on how I sleep on my side when I drink, but like I said, my grandfather especially, he was a pretty serious alcoholic, and then like he had to simmer down. But he only lived until like he was 67, and I don't really want that. So you know, I want to live for as long as possible. Because if the age stays, if the age is something that's getting to me, as soon as I hit 45, 55, and then what? I have another 10 years left? Fuck that. I shouldn't be turning 35 and thinking half of my life is over, you know? Because it's not, from what I understand, unless there's something that happened to me. But with that being said, that's how my thought process works when I think about it. Because you know, whole midlife crisis shit that people tend to go through, and they go through in different stages, and I've watched actual videos on that. So I started to feel like a sense of panic. Like, what have I done with my life? Um, which is hard. It's a hard thing to think about because once you start being honest with yourself about it, it just hits like that. If you're joking about it, it's completely different, obviously, because I've joked about it before. But once I start thinking about it, it just it's like a fucking pile of rocks. So, I mean, am I necessarily a bad spot right now? No, no, it could be worse. It could be a lot worse. But do I have the potential to put myself in a bad spot? Absolutely. You know, most won't think about it that way. I understand that. The only thing that benefits me is I don't smoke cigarettes, so I don't look old. So um, I only have like one issue that I gotta take care of. So I've tried smoking before, but it's like it never actually clicked before. Like I've done it socially a couple times, but I didn't really care about it. It wasn't like a beer or anything like that to me. It was more like oh, I'm doing this to pass the time, hanging out with friends. So it never felt an addiction to it. Same thing with cigarettes. I've only had about like 5 cigarettes in my whole life. I don't necessarily care for that shit either. I already got enough problems with my gums as it is. Well, flaps, gum flaps. My my teeth are not the greatest, they're not the worst, but I got one tooth back here that I need to get fixed up or just removed. Ain't that a bitch? So things like that made me think about it. Just imagine, man, for me going out one night, getting hungover, and then all of a sudden I wake up with a fucking toothache. On top of that, fuck all that. I ain't doing that shit. It's crazy. So, um, the only other thing that kind of bothers me, and I've had to talk about this too, is that my whole career is based off of working at a bar and grill. So it is very possible, like somewhere down the road, I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna get a beer after work, and then no, no, actually not, because when I drink in public these days, I don't really do it to get messed up. I do it to watch the sports game and whatever that may be. Go Niners, I guess. But no, I usually get pretty distracted just because it's more expensive to go out, So I'm not thinking, oh, this whole 6 pack is like $10. No, this one beer is $10. Fucking tough shit. You get one. I like money a little bit more than I like alcohol, or I try to. And sometimes I do get in the mood, but but it is messed up, man, because it's starting to get dark. I know it doesn't look it, but it can be a little bit messed up, man. I do have the experience of staying clean off of it for months on end. So it's not like I don't think I'm capable. You know, I'm very well capable of stopping for another couple of months. Will it suck? Yes, but um, the hard thing would be to stop completely, like rest of my life. Just because like I've had so many memories with it, some I don't remember, but I don't know. It's something that I've thought about, and like, not to talk shit or anything either, because I'm not one to. Not when it pertains to this, but sometimes whenever I do go on here, and I see other people who do their live streams. Sometimes I just sit there and think to myself, what the fuck are you doing? You know, like, you look foolish, and then I go and turn around and do it. So it's not fun. The one time when I did stay sober, I just replaced it with energy drinks, and that was a little rough too. I'm not gonna lie, because that shit will kill you too. So uh, yeah, they're fun. I love the caffeine rush. Not as much as I like the buzz, but they're fun. Even when you get the zero sugar, 0 calorie ones, it it, it doesn't make a goddamn difference. It's the same thing as soda in that regard. And then you get the caffeine in your system, and then your heart rate goes up. Then what? You know, especially if you're middle aged, you're not really supposed to drink all that crap. I've seen people in their 60s drinking stuff though, so I could be wrong, but um, don't really know. Never really asked if, because they used to be coworkers. Whenever we were at the grocery store, uh, when I worked a night shift, they would have the caffeine, the energy drinks and stuff. I don't know how. I could do it. If once someone's like 60 and then they're about to retire in like a year or two, and they just start drinking caffeine, and then go home and hopefully talk about weed. Interesting stuff, man. Interesting stuff. I would like to think that they kind of rock one another, but I don't know. Could be wrong. Could be wrong. But this is going to be a little bit nutty because I haven't been to work in 4 days. I opted to come in on Tuesday and decided not to. It was just going to be an extra body, and it was just going to be me doing videos, but I opted not to. Kind of last second, but they didn't need me, and they openly admitted that. So, like, if you don't want to come in, you don't have to. Well, you know what? I'll just go do something else. A big mistake. Because now I'm in a situation to where I need to save up as much money as I can. So, like, it's nice talking about it because for me, like, I get my thoughts through. I get my thoughts through, and I get my shit organized, like in here. So it helps a lot. And I don't know if it's because I've been doing it for quite some time. I don't know if it's because I've done it back when I had the room and I was slouched on my chair, drunk, talking about whatever. I don't know. But if it's just something, if it's because it's like something that's second nature to me. But like I said, I feel pretty okay now. I could use some more sleep, but this shift is going to be fine. I mean, I'm probably going to get some shit. Like, oh, why'd you call out? I told you guys, family emergency. Okay. They literally told me before that they don't really care if people call out or not. It's just a thing. But like I said, now it's like the next couple of weeks, I'm working a lot. And to help me pay for the room, which I hope it works out, my tax return, I got a lot more than what I thought I was going to get. So, gave me, I guess. So Yeah, I mean, all I really gotta do is just like say like, yeah, it's gonna give me 2 or 3 weeks and then I'm out because I need my own space. I really do. I don't know if the bed that I've been using is gonna be taken with me because there's been times when I would just get home from like seafood and stuff like that, and I'm trying to clean this son of a bitch, but and what I do, I don't like admitting to this either. I really don't. Like I have a lot of night terrors, so I'll wake up in a heap of sweat, which is gross. And the bed is not mine. It was a spare bed in the loft that no one used. So I'm thinking, just clean that son of a bitch and then just offer to buy it or something. I don't know. It's not really like something I like to talk about, but that's another thing too. I don't know how we're gonna move everything, but we'll figure it out. So the place I'm moving to, there's 2 empty rooms. One's furnished, and I'm kind of looking a little bit more into that. But the one that isn't furnished has its own bathroom. So, and they're both the same price. So it's a lot for me to think about, um, especially because a lot of my stuff is still pretty far away. By a lot, I mean like my bed frame that I haven't used in years, and my dresser, you know. And there's a truck. You know, my uncle has no problem like moving the stuff, but you know, it's also me finding the time to make sure it gets done. Because what would happen is that I would have to go all the way to that other city. Obviously, I gotta help get the stuff in, pay for the gas there and back, and finish it off that way. As far as the mattress goes, I remember back then, the mattress I was using when I was in that room was a piece of shit. Not the hotel room, but the one I had when I was paying rent a few years back. And that was just because it was just a lot of damage, a lot of food, and the mattress is about 15 years old. So if anything, I have to find another mattress, which is actually not. It's not as hard as some people may think, unless we get a new one. Obviously, it's fucking expensive, but um, the last mattress I got wasn't necessarily new, and I didn't really care. I don't think I still do. There's used mattresses out there that I could probably buy. It sounds a little gross. I understand that people think that, but you know, I'd rather spend $100 than 1,000. If that makes sense. So, plus a mattress can always be cleaned. So I gotta think about that as well, because I know there's a dry cleaner that might be able to do it in town, and maybe all I had to do is just get the mattress to be taken over there, and then or the one I've been sleeping on and sweating my balls off, uh, and get it cleaned over there. I don't know how much it would cost. I don't know if they actually do it, but there's also like home remedies that you can do. Um, but I don't know if that's going to work out because the people I live with currently have sensitive noses, and I think it takes like vinegar and stuff. So I don't think it'll work out. But I left for work a little bit early. Hey doctor, you having fun? You behaving over there? Look how, bro. It does not look dark, but you can tell that there's a light, a street light. So logic would state that it's dark. It just doesn't look it. And it's actually a little bit cold, but I've used this as a platform to get there, to bypass it with my body because I'm a big boy. Not a really big boy, but a little over 200 pounds. So I got me a gut rot. Yeah, I have no idea how I tried to get a hold of my parents today. My mom, yes. My dad, he called me back once, and I called him back like 7 minutes later or something like that. Doesn't pick up the phone. He doesn't like to. But for me, it's just like, what are you gonna do with yourself that's gonna directly affect me? You know, not not your mom. So I wish these are one of the houses I get to move into because it's very close. But the house I think I'm moving to is not that far either. So I think that one's a little bit shorter of a walk than this one. Because that room, uh, it's technically on the other side of town, but it's also not that far. It just depends on the exact location. I just didn't look up the address or anything like that yet. But I don't think it's really going to affect my decision. What really benefited me to get a room, and I know, doctor, you're not a fan of it, but I don't smoke, so people don't trip about that with me. So they're like, oh yeah, if you just do whatever else, then sure. But the last people who I rented out from, they smoked a lot of weed. They drink a lot. It was a rock and roll lifestyle from back then. Now that you're pointing it out, especially when my ex and I split up, like 4 months afterwards, there was a lot of greasy shit. That wall will always be remembered in my name as the one I slid down on because I tried to stand up and there was too much shit on my feet. Then I tried to hang on to the wall. I slid. It's exactly what happened. I can tell you that from a sober experience because I know how messy my floor was. So, it's strange too. The people who I live with now, kind of similar to how I used to live. It's just without the alcohol. Instead, all their mess is from fast food, fucking burgers and stuff, and not necessarily the food in and of itself. I mean, like, yeah, there's been times, but uh, you like to drink alone, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, yeah, as long as it doesn't really affect my body. But yeah, they were social with getting drunk and stuff, drunk and high. I was not. I'd prefer to stay in a closed area because I'm a homebody, so I don't really care to socialize when I do it half the time. I mean, like, sure, I like bars and grills and stuff like that, but different reasons. That's for pairing. Um, 'Cause I'm a foodie too, so that I can't wait for. Because there's some places I've been wanting to try again, but just never really pushed myself to do it. Like I remember, I got this burger called the Coffin. from place called Digger's Diner. My God, that was a burger. That was a massive fucking thing. I still have the picture of it too on my Instagram. But um, but yeah, that thing was a beast. It was four patties because I ended up getting an extra patty, which they added two for. It was kind of like a Big Mac, but the quality of it was 10 times nicer, just because it was from an actual restaurant, not a fast food chain. And you know how kids are when they work there; they don't pertain to quality, so they're just there to work a shift and get away with it, which that's fine too. I used to live like that. So some people like their home life a lot more than they like their work life. Sometimes it's vice versa. Sometimes it's just the same. Right now, I'm all about work. So I'm okay with my job. After drinking as much as I did, I was like, oh shit. I started second guessing it. Like I probably shouldn't work at a bar and grill anymore just because I don't want to be tempted, which is still true. But if I just chill out and not go for the heavier shit, then perhaps. But I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna take off. I've been on here for almost 40 minutes now. I gotta make a couple phone calls. Maybe hit the store. I don't know. Nah, I just stick with tea. They have this raspberry tea on my job that's fucking bomb. So speaking of, I smell the dankness in the air. Anyway, all right, I gotta take off. You guys take care. Thanks for listening. I'll be fine. Give it a couple weeks, which I've not said before, but give it a couple weeks and I'll be uh I'll be a normal human being again. I guess it's the best way for me to put it. Which the fuck is normal anyway? Take care.